big blankets though. That you can get. Was it a bong hit, Kevin?
Absolutely.
Oh God, I'm so jealous. I'm gonna smoke a little bit right now. Jay, do you have one of your tampon joints?
I'm in the process of rolling one.
DJ, like I have to just say, DJ rolls the best joints I've ever seen another a human being roll. They're like really fat, and she has that little cardboard tip that she puts in, and I love. I've smoked many a joint with DJ, and I also want to kind of give a little bit of background on DJ and our relationship with one another. I think we met in like 2007, didn't we?
Something like that, maybe even 2006.
Yeah, it might have been. It might. You know what? I think it might have been 2006. I was doing a show with Jeffrey Peterson at Bruce Margolin's end of the year party.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's the first time we met. And then the second time I met you, there was a collective that was being shut down in Los Angeles, and you were on a bullhorn. You're famous for your bullhorn expertise. And I was looking at you and I go, my God, that woman has so much passion. And I believe I approached you and asked you if you needed any help or that I would do a show for a fundraiser.
Yes, yeah, we did. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
We moved forward from there.
Yeah, yeah. And so now, is Dave Hodges with you?
He isn't. He decided. I think the conversation I originally had with him about Lingerie Friday, and I made some Rocky Horror Picture references, and I think I scared him off.
Oh no! Oh my God! Was it going to be like kind of one of those kind of things too?
What?
Because you said he's coming over, he's staying over here, and I'm like, oh, okay. I was thinking maybe because I've crashed at your place, and there's been other activists crashing at your place, but.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, he's out and about. He's still actually trying to make some connections with people and talk with people about our initiative and make the connections necessary for the fundraising that we absolutely have to do in order to get this initiative on the ballot in California.
So did he know? Was he coming up from was he coming down from San Jose?
Yeah, he's in town for a few days from the Bay Area.
Okay, and well, that's I guess well, you are known for liking vinyl and leather and stuff. And,
and I'm also known for scaring men off. So
I don't know if anybody, if I could give a visual of what Dejay looks like. She's very attractive and exotic looking and tall, and I guess maybe when you're tall, it could happen sometimes. I remember one time we were at Denny's, and we used to go to Denny's when we were doing New Dissonant Radio, and one of the waiters was just like in love with her. I mean, he was like just like bowing down at the Denny's table, and then
Dejay, right then and there, he asked to be my slave right at that very moment. It was
right
over a cup of coffee and some pie.
But apparently he couldn't handle it, and even when I came in, afterwards I would come in and eat whatever, and he was just like avoiding me or wouldn't say hi or nothing. I'm like, wow.
He said I scared them pretty bad.
He was so embarrassed. He goes, "There's her friend." Okay, well, enough about that.
The impression that the world has of me now,
right? Ladies and gentlemen, the ball buster of marijuana. The marijuana dom, DJ Kuti. It's been fun. I mean, we've definitely done some fun things. We actually DJ and I did a medical marijuana float for the Gay Pride Parade in 2008. And was it 8 or was it 7? I'm trying to remember
It was
now.
2008.
Okay,
The
that's
only
right.
reason I, of course, remember that is because of Jen's wonderful CD and putting the date on the CD. It's on the cover.
That's right, it is. Okay, now I see the CD. It just flashed back to me in my brain. And we had some great music. We did. We created this float together, and wasn't it like it was like 6? I think it was like 6 weeks before the actual parade was happening. We thought, well, if we're gonna do it, we better go for it.
Right.
And we entered, we went to summit, we went to the float making meeting, and we smoked some really good bud, invited some of our best friends that we thought would be on the float or contribute to it in different ways. We had actors and artists, and we even had some people that are not even with us anymore that were a part of that project.
Yeah. Yeah, we've lost Janet Stewart and Richard Kearns.
Yeah. And
And
we
Blue Iris.
Yeah, yeah. Blue Iris, for those who might be listening, was famous on Howard Stern for making dirty crank phone calls to people, and and she would like say, this. She would be like, "Emma, this is Blue Iris. I'm touching my pussy right now. What are you doing?" She'd be like, see, that's how it would start off, and they were hilarious. Um, Anyway, Blue was actually diagnosed with, she was manic depressive. She had bipolar disease, and the reason why her speech was affected was because she had that old archaic electric shock treatment. And, so she was never the same after that. But boy, did she market herself and make herself funny and do something with it. So she was part of the float because she had, I believe, like her son had AIDS, and also she was very supportive of marijuana and what it can do to help people and what it does to help AIDS patients. She was actually really sick that day, and at one point in the morning she called me up and said, "I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it," and then she did get better. She was able to be there that day, so that's really nice. And then we had Richard Kearns, and tell us a little bit about Richard Kearns, DJ.
Well, Richard, he's kind of an icon here in Los Angeles in the AIDS community and in the gay community. He contracted AIDS back in the 80s and didn't think he was going to be a long-term survivor because none of the other people around him at the time were. Turned out he lived with the disease, I believe, nearly 30 years. And as a result of that, he really became an active voice in the AIDS community, about treatment and care and the affordability of medications and access to medications. And then he started using cannabis actively about 7 years before he died. It wasn't that he was unfamiliar with cannabis, it just wasn't something that became part of his daily therapy until later in life. It, of course, helped him with neuropathy, it helped him with appetite and sleep and all those other things. I'm very familiar with watching Richard with his regimen of pills and serums and things that he had to take. And if it wasn't for cannabis, there's no way he would have lived as long, because there's no way he would have held down those other toxic medications. He was also a very prolific writer. He's been nominated for some science fiction prizes, and he was quite a prolific poet as well. So yeah, when we lost him, we definitely celebrated with a poetry reading and celebrating his life as a very prominent activist here in LA with respect to AIDS and cannabis. The cannabis movement and the AIDS movement and the gay community are all kind of married together in an interesting kind of triage. And we work together really well.
Yes, and on that, we'll be right back. We need to take a commercial break. Sasha?
Yeah.
Hey, I can tell that we we can't hear like what's going on in terms of music or queuing
Wait,
back in
can't hear
again.
that?
Huh?
Can't hear the ads?
No, we can't hear the ads. We can't hear the intro music either.
Talking to the wrong one, Casper. Alright, let me know if you hear the ads playing right now.
Okay, if they don't, just cue me in, and then I'll just start. Just let me know when they're finished if I can't hear it. Yeah, we still can't hear it. Are you guys there?
I'm here.
Okay. So I was thinking,
Uh-oh.
what happened?
Not to say you're thinking. I'm sorry. It's just like my common response anytime somebody says that they're thinking. I just say, uh-oh.
uh, I'd like to talk, more about the float, and then, transition into, like what might be going on currently, with what you're working on now.
Yeah, because I do. I've got a lot going on. It's a lot to talk about. We should definitely talk about the California initiative, and we should definitely talk about the permit that we have for Washington, D.C.
Okay. Oh yeah, Washington D.C. is going to be great.
If we raise some money,
Yeah.
and I just, I'm at least excited about the other people who are really excited about it. I mean, that's why I pulled the permit, because I was like, eventually I'm going to tell the right people that I did this, and they're going to be really into it. And that's kind of like what has started to happen, because like they get it, you know what I mean? They get the significance of us being in front of the White House, in front of this president on 420. Yay, a joint. Finally got my joint roll. I may roll really good joints, I just don't roll them very fast.
Oh, I can't even roll a joint decent. I'm the worst.
I know you don't have your camera on, but I could show it too if you wanted it.
I do have, yeah. You could put your camera on really quick and show it.
How do I do that?
You just click on the video part. I can't keep it there because it does kind of distort. Once we start broadcasting, it'll kind of distort the quality of the broadcast, but we could probably do it really quick. Oh my God. Okay, I want to make sure I capture it. I'm kind of like filming backwards because I had the front cam on me. Oh, there it is. I think I got you. I got you. Show the joint. Show the joint. Oh, cool. Okay.
Got that?
Yeah, I think I got it. I got it. Okay.
I'll turn off the.
Oh, Kevin came on. Kevin's coming on. Oh, wait. All right, let me put a camera. I'll put the camera on there too. Hold on. Kevin with a leaf.
Nugs.
Okay. Wow. All right. Kevin and I, and another guy named North Flat, we do this thing called trips. and we film it like right after we do this. And I just film Skype talking, us talking on Skype, and we just go into the best subject matters and post them, and they're getting really popular. And we have this forum on the internet with over 2,000 people in it already.
Wow.
It's kind of like Illuminati conspiracy theory stuff too.
Well, tonight, I know it's past midnight. We just celebrated if we want to say celebrate or acknowledge the 50th anniversary of JFK's assassination.
Oh yeah, I do need to mention that. That'd be great to go into, like, kind of theorize in the second hour.
Maybe we can have a seance.
Okay. I'll save that. Remind me of seance, because I'm going to save it for the air.
Seance.
Yeah.
Tell him, we just want to call up JFK and smoke a doob with him.
Well, I actually did a catering gig one time in it was the ballroom at what is that the place where Bobby got shot at, Ambassador Hotel. And it was like,
Roosevelt.
yes. And it had all of the okay. I heard that. Song ends in 2 minutes. If you're still working on it. Okay, wait. Okay, I'm trying to figure. This kind of media is just like this. We've done this a lot, huh, Jay?
Oh yeah, no, you just go with the flow. As long as the sponsors are happy at the end of the night,
Right.
that's all that matters, right?
Right. We're back. All right, we're back with Hollywood Headrest Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. We are having like a few technical difficulties, but who cares, right? With me is Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment, also a creator of Trips and cast member of Trips. Find us on Facebook. Also, we have Dejay Kuti from the Patient Advocacy Network. She also did the Compassion Flower Report on Hollywood Headrest Hour on the Atomic Comedy Network, and so as well as New Dissident Radio. So we've been actually working in this medium together quite a bit, and I would love to have you come back and give the Compassion Flower Report sometimes, Dejay.
Oh yeah, for sure. The last couple months of my life have been so crazy hectic with the California legalization initiative. I feel like my feet are back underneath me again now that we've got the language filed.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that. You're really involved with this from the very get-go. This new initiative that's going to go on the ballot. I'm just going to be positive and say it's going to be on the ballot.
Yeah, no, it has been quite a journey. I stayed away from the California legalization effort pretty much from the get-go. I mean, I'm really busy with the Patient Advocacy Network. I didn't think I'd have time to get involved in statewide voter initiative, and I thought, other groups would handle it and see another good.
I'm going to stop you here for just a second. There's a bit of an echo there. I think when I look at Skype, I'm seeing it coming from both sides. Time for Hemp, I think, might be looping it again. That's some really good weed. All right. So, please, I'm sorry. Can you start a little bit back, like maybe a couple,
Sure.
Yeah.
Is our audio synced again?
I think we're fine now.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, there's California, it doesn't have a shortage of cannabis activists, and I'm fairly busy with Patient Advocacy Network and the programs that we run, and just all the things that have been going on here in Los Angeles. But just within the last year or so, I've paid a lot more attention to it, and the thing that really I think stuck out to me as being potentially very critical, and it did turn out to be so, was what we refer to here in California simply as the Riverside decision. And there was a collective in Riverside that sued the city of Riverside regarding banning the collective there. The city wanted to pass a ban, and this particular collective wanted to argue that you cannot ban collectives, and it went all the way to the California Supreme Court, where the California Supreme Court, their decision on appeal was, their opinion was that yes, municipalities do have the authority under its planning code to ban businesses if they choose to do so. And given that decision, I knew that it was going to be very important for us to get some type of regulations in California that would not ban medical, that patient associations, especially for the sake of getting together to provide each other with affordable medical cannabis, should not be banned. The other thing that became important here in California was we have consistently, over the last two legislative sessions here in Sacramento, have seen really bad attempts to try to quote unquote clarify Proposition 215 or fix medical marijuana. And the proposals that are being put together in Sacramento are very restrictive and would basically allow wealthy dispensaries to remain in existence, and smaller mom and pop dispensaries wouldn't be able to survive, mostly because we're talking about an annual permitting fee of in excess of $100,000. That's just for the collective. That's not the permit you have to get for every grower and every one of your bud tenders and everything else. So they wanted to make it a pay-to-play scheme here in California. So we just felt it was very necessary to put an initiative on the ballot to not just strengthen medical, but allow for adult recreational and implement the industrial hemp bill that recently passed here, which is decent, but it doesn't go into effect until 2019. So we're going to put that into effect now and allow adult recreational to be taxed and regulated and not ban medical, and allow those patient associations to stand as tax-free organizations.
Dejay, I also noticed that there is a portion for the growth of industrial hemp too.
Yeah, one of the things that happened is Mark Leno's industrial hemp bill passed, and it's a decent bill, but the problem with it is it doesn't get implemented until 2019.
Okay.
And so what we did, because that bill was coming down the pike for a vote at the same time we were getting ready to file our initiative, that once we saw what that bill did, we adopted it, but we just implemented it upon passage of our initiative instead of waiting until 2019. It's one of those little political games that, in order to get Jerry Brown to sign it, they just made sure that he would be well out of office by the time it was implemented. You know what I'm saying? It's politics. It's all politics.
Uh-huh. Now, I have a question. What is the difference between this bill that you've been a part of and created, and the Jack Hare initiative that's going to be the other one? What are the differences?
The CCHI, they're out gathering signatures now. They filed, I believe, in August, and they've already gotten their language back from the Secretary of State. And the two main differences is just the strength in the language of the law. One of the things we know that we can't allow in Sacramento is for them just to blanket legalize and request some type of regulation structure without actually providing a framework for Sacramento to do it. I mean, we've seen what Sacramento did with something as simple as Proposition 215, and they didn't know how to handle it, and it's quite a mess. So we want to make sure we drafted an initiative that would give very clear direction to everyone in Sacramento as exactly how to implement it. And the way we did so, because there's been so, I mean, what is unique about the initiative, Terry, that I'm involved in is the group that originally put the draft up online is a group called Save Cannabis. And it's run by John Lee and Dave Hodges out of Sacramento. And their attitude, as well as many others, which is why this was created, was that there isn't enough transparency when it comes to drafting these laws. Basically, we get people who go behind closed doors and try to draft a marijuana law. And I mean, come on, we've not passed one in California since 1996. We've not been able to either get them on the ballot, or when we do get them on the ballot, like with 19, we didn't get it passed. It wasn't a great law. It was certainly not a solution. It didn't address the issues we have now with the 8-point directive from the Department of Justice, and kind of what we've learned from Colorado and Washington. There's a little bit of wisdom that has definitely taken place, but we've not been able to put forth something that has been workable. And the goal of this language was to put the draft initiative up online, let anyone who wanted sign on and look at it, make comments, make amendments, be part of the chat. And Save Cannabis has done that for well over a year. And as a result, well over 800 people have significantly weighed in on this law, including maybe in upwards of 30 attorneys. The call went out for everyone to take a last look. Every organization has been called, the ACLU and NORML and MPP, and you just could imagine everyone we've called to in the cannabis industry, and legislators, and Gavin Newsom. And I mean, we've reached out to everyone to let them know we're trying to have an inclusive effort so that we can have something that's workable, and that everyone is seen, looked at, and weighed in. And at that point, we closed the period for comments, and then we handed over basically what we refer to as a chalkboard of ideas. And we handed that over to a professional team of attorneys that do just that. They take your idea and your language, and they actually format it into what should be submitted to the Secretary of State. And we've done that. And there's even these window of opportunity for amendments. And we're going to do one more set of amendments before we submit it the final time, so that we don't run out of time to get on the 2014 ballot. So what I've been doing and what I've been working on is basically getting the word out there that people can go read the language. It's at mclr.us. That's M as in Mary, C as in Charlie, L as in Larry, R as in, what's a good, R as in
Randy.
And .us. And you can actually go to the tab that will take you to reading the initiative. It's about 24 pages long or so. People can see what we've been working on. And probably within the next 30 to 40 days, we'll have our title and summary back from the Attorney General. We can print our petitions, and we'll hit the streets, and we'll start gathering signatures.
Wonderful, Jay. It sounds like I didn't. It's fascinating. What's special about this is to hear how other, like, 800 different people put their own thoughts into this. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, we've seen people be wronged by this industry, in many different ways, or by the laws. So by having so many different people and so many different attorneys, we had to put language in there about family court and people losing their children. We have language in there about people losing licensure or not being able to get certifications in certain fields because of their involvement with cannabis, and people losing their employment. And we wanted to say that you just can't discriminate against people for cannabis and based on these reasons, so that people can get their lives back. And it was very important to get that input and get that perspective. And we asked for a lot. I mean, we put a lot in there, and we did have these attorneys that we're working with explain to us why some of the provisions we were asking for were not doable, that we were asking for too much. We were trying to get this law to do more than it could, and it was going to give us some problems legally. So we know there's some little fixes we have to do to protect people's rights. I mean, cannabis is certainly going to be legal. One of the things we wanted to do was release all the prisoners and expunge all the records.
Wonderful. Dejay, I do have to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Okay. What, Sasha? I can't hear anything. And like you sound kind of quiet too.
What about now?
That's better. Much better.
And Casper says hi.
Hi, Casper. I do hear an echo on me happening. A little bit.
Alright, we'll be coming back in about 4 minutes.
Okay, in 4 minutes. Okay. All right.
I'm going to go get a blanket.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
It's damp and chilly here. We've had rain.
Really?
Because I'm sure you get.
It hasn't been as rainy as I thought it would be. It's been a little bit, but I mean,
Rain up there in Portland.
it seemed like it rained more last year. Kevin, are you here? Where he went?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Is it cold where you're? Kevin's in Gresham.
Gresham?
No, you're not in Gresham. You're in Portland.
Yeah, I'm in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Oh, where? He's somewhere.
You're in Milwaukee?
Yep.
Cool. I'm from the Chicago area.
I'm at Milwaukee, Oregon.
Oh, my bad.
That's
I'm
awesome.
thinking Brewers, Cubs.
Right?
Let's get ready to talk some baseball.
We don't have a baseball team. We had a basketball team full of ex-cons and future cons.
Sounds like the Lakers.
No, Arsenal's the Portland Trail Gangsters.
Trail Gangsters, yeah.
We're so gangster. We named we called it the Rose Garden, but we just didn't think that was close enough to Potts. Now we just call it the Moda Center.
The Moda Center.
Sad part is you think I'm joking, but I'm not.
No, I don't think you're joking. I believe you totally. I love stoner humor.
They totally did name it the Moda Center.
Kevin and I went. Took a trip to Comic-Con and worked on a documentary at the Comic-Con convention back in September. And that's how we kind of started our trips. We documented the trip through the with my Ustream, and it became really interesting. We talked a lot about how the Mormons.
That charges taxes to pay for schools and roads, just like alcohol and tobacco. What do you think should profit? Are schools and roads for drugs?
We can hear it now.
But it's working. All right,
Yay!
We're coming back in like 15 seconds.
Okay. Are we back? Does it sound like a storm is happening?
Sounds pretty trippy.
All right, and we're back with Hollywood Hempress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio, and that was I couldn't hear my intro music, and it sounded like a storm was happening over Skype or something. It was kind of trippy. Anyway, welcome back to the show. With me is Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment and Trips, and I also have DJ Kuti, president of the Patient Advocacy Network. Why don't you give your website out, DJ?
People can find out what I do in different places. Definitely, CannabisSavesLives.org is the 501c3 I run. We provide a lot of education and training to people who want to be cannabis activists. And if people want to learn more about the initiative, that is mclr.us.
Great. That's great. And this is a little bit off the subject. I kind of want to take a little fun turn here for a second. Kevin, did you see my post of the pictures of the girl that was the burlesque dancer that looked like she was shape-shifting into a reptilian lizard head?
Kinda. I didn't really understand like what you. I missed the lizard head.
Yeah, if you look at the photos, like I guess it looks confusing. I uploaded her normal, and then there's like these different pictures, and if you look at it, her head looks like a dinosaur or a lizard head, like in more than one photo.
Huh. I saw it just on the wall, and it had like a group of them, and they were all mashed together, so it was really kind of weird looking.
Yeah, well, take a look at it again. It was because like DJ, I've kind of mentioned like we smoked a joint, and like I said, to talk about like David Icke and the reptilian hybrid people.
Sure.
And I swear to God, I got these pictures of like of that. Like it looks like her head is looks like kind of like a lizard head. I'll show it to you, but it's I don't know. It's more than one. It's like 4 different ones, and I don't know. Kind of interesting. I mean, could be real, could not be real. What do you think?
I don't believe in coincidence. You're being shown something for some reason.
You think? Well, what's kind of weird is like it made me think about when I was with Lynette Shaw. Lynette Shaw had one of the original dispensaries. I think the first dispensary in Marin County, and unfortunately, she had to shut down. But she was doing a public access show that I came up from LA and participated in, and there was this guy that came in. He claimed to be a clairvoyant, and he looked at me and he goes, you know what? He goes, I want to find out what the effects of cannabis. I'm a clairvoyant, and I'm curious about cannabis and consciousness. And I said, oh wow, I'm curious about that too. And we sat down and we talked for a while, and he told me that he was like making love to this woman, and that while they were making love, that she was shifting into like a Liz, she was shape shifting and like reptilian shape shifting. And he goes, and I looked at her, and he goes, and I was kind of like, she realized that I noticed it, and then she looked at me with the same expression that I gave her because she realized I was doing it too. So then this guy's telling me that he's like a reptilian person, right? Or a hybrid. And then he asked me out to dinner and dancing, and I went. And so anyway, I guess it's not funny. Somebody out there might find it funny, but I just, I've had these like strange incidents, and then like to capture that picture, I thought was kind of interesting. But then again, a lot of people might just be listening, going, "Well, she's probably smoking too much weed." Um, so back to you, DJ. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So you've been working on this bill. Now, there's something else going on that we've, because I'm actually on the board of directors of the Patient Advocacy Network, and so I'm kind of privy. We've been working on some stuff together, and there is, you're wanting to do big showdown on 420 in Washington D.C. Yeah.
I've been involved for a long time as an activist for a minimum of about 17 years now, hardcore, being involved with different policy orgs and so forth. And, I've gotten to see over the years what they have and have not done. And I knew that the last 4 years that Obama is in office it's potentially a very critical time for our movement. I mean, we really should take advantage of just how cannabis friendly he has been. Maybe not vocally, maybe not with what he's done, but when you look at his youth and you look at his, kind of where he comes from, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of take advantage of that and kind of pull on him a little bit for the next 4 years while he's in office. So,
DJ, can I ask you something? Do you think that he is actually the president to be supportive to us? I mean, because I'm kind of, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I question that. Um,
no, I don't think any president is going to be outwardly supportive when it comes to drug reform. What this president at least has been clear about is that we all need to put pressure on Congress. So our organization, the day after Obama was inaugurated into a second term, we launched a campaign to educate people about how to contact Congress and work with their congressional member on the local level, right there, at the district office, that you don't have to go all the way to Washington, D.C. to be effective at engaging your congressional member right there on the local level. And then the other thing I did was I pulled a rally permit for in front of the White House for April 20th, 2014. So, what my goal is for the next 3 years that we have Obama in office is to get every single person who believes in cannabis and hemp to let their congressional member know it is time to end the prohibition on marijuana, and let's get a bill in front of President Obama to sign. He's not going to sign an executive order and go over Congress's head on this. But if Congress puts together a smart piece of legislation and can get it passed through the Senate and the House, the president will sign it. And I think it's just I don't think we've done enough to get activists together in Washington, D.C. We have other festivals and things that we do in other parts of the country, which is good. But I think it's also good that we, if every single person who believed in cannabis showed up at the president's front door, it would make history. And I'm sure it would change Congress's mind when they realize this many of the constituents of the United States supports cannabis reform. So I'm hoping to kind of create a snowball effect. I'm not expecting that we're going to shut down the entire Capitol the first year we do this. But I do want to get as many supporters around the country together and do this together. It's a good time to rally and bring people together to let Congress know and to let the White House know just how many cannabis supporters want to see real change now, not later.
Well, it would be a wonderful thing to see. And I really do hope it happens. I have to just say, I mean, and I don't know, I mean, like, it's not like I won't support it or, always, stand for the change that I wish to see in the world. But I have to say, I am starting to get really, um, disillusioned with ever in some ways thinking that the president would stand behind that kind of a change, because the cannabis plant is connected to so many things like our oil, the oil companies, the pharmaceutical companies. It's got, like, there's so many. From what I can see as a president, I feel that he has been the corporation's president, and that he slipped in and he passed the Monsanto Protection Act without us even realizing that it was happening to us. And I really, like, I look at him, or I look at this administration, I don't even really think that it's President Obama per se. That he is just, in my feeling is that he is a front man for the rest of everything that else is happening, and it's really not even up to him. And as I say this, I almost feel a sense of fear of how that's going to be perceived, because I've even put it out there to people and they go, oh, you know what? You sound like one of those Republican pundits that works for Fox News. And on that, we need to take a commercial break, but I'd like to get maybe you guys' thoughts on what you feel about that when we come back.
Okay, Spreaker decided to publish the show randomly.
What?
So I'll start up a second hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it just randomly decided to hit publish. I have no idea what happened.
Okay.
So, yeah, second hour will be up in a bit.
No problem.
Technology's been weird today.
I know, huh?
I mean, I don't know what your phone was doing there near the end of our conference call, but my volume button just kept, like, going up.
Kevin said it must be that TPP. Well, I'm sorry.
But yeah, like, of course we were having trouble hearing each other. My hold button kept getting pressed on my phone. That's why you didn't know I was there, and I couldn't figure out why you couldn't hear me. And it wasn't my mute button, it was a hold button. And so I kept trying to hit the hold button to turn it off, and then all of a sudden my volume bar on my phone appears, and it just shoots up from, like, where it was all the way up to as loud as it could go. And it was odd. My phone was just kind of, it was like a little poltergeist in my phone.
Alright, since I have this opportunity, I'm going to refresh Skype, so maybe you might be able to hear the music.
Okay.
Back in a bit.
Okay. Hello.
Hello?
Okay.
Oh, it always puts me back on with video, even if I say just take a call. Very weird.
Is DJ with us?
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to not eat any more dark chocolate peanut butter cups.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Holy crap. Alright, so the second hour, as soon as it goes live, we hear the bumper music.
Okay.
Actually, I'll just do a bumper music and I'll play one ad block. So we'll start with that because that's what you're gonna go to right now, anyways, right?
Oh, okay. So you're gonna play one ad block? What do you mean one ad block?
Just 4 minutes of ads, and then we'll come back right after that.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Great.
All right.
Sounds like a smoke break.
Huh? I know, huh?
Smoke break. I know I still have this beautiful joint sitting here. I need to spark it up.
Oh my God, you haven't sparked yet? Oh,
I
spark.
haven't sparked it up yet. I'm too enthralled with these dark chocolate peanut butter cups.
I want peanut butter cups.
I had a peanut butter cup today.
Cups are the bomb.
What?
I said peanut butter cups are the bomb.
Yeah, I'm making caramels tomorrow.
Mmm. It's that time of year.
It is that time of year. It's like the butter. I'm making a bunch of butter tomorrow, and then I'm making some caramels tomorrow. And then I don't know. And then I'm making a bunch of butter. Normally I give it out for Christmas, but this year I might keep it.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to me. It's gonna be one of those Christmases.
Awesome.
Oh, did you want to play your MP3 that you sent?
You know what? I'm not sure. Actually, it's a really long MP. You know what? I don't know, DJ. I mean, I'm maybe like later on. I took a clip of the Viana Haju stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like 10 minutes. You know, it's like her explaining her story, and I don't know if we want to get into that. I mean,
We could do it another episode.
yeah, okay, yeah, cause like the second hour, not to say that I don't want to like, you know, talk about stuff. I kind of want to like have a little. I think it's time to have like a little bit more. You know, usually like the second hour we kick it off into like some fun and you know still we can still you know still talking about hemp and you know like everything that you're doing and you know things that are going on, but kind of want to carry it a little bit into you know we can have a like maybe a discussion about stuff or have our opinions like you know for example you know I like the question that I just brought up you know before here you know I'm kind of interested in finding out you know what you how you feel about it like is there you know, I mean, I kind of, in a way.
Oh no, I think it's a great discussion because we'll tie it in. I mean, immediately what I was thinking is, yeah, these presidents, they're puppets because they saw what happened to JFK.
And then we can talk about JFK. Yeah, I mean, it totally ties in. So,
Yeah.
all right, so
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it too much right now because I don't want to like lose the, you know, what we're gonna say.
Well, let's just smoke, man. I wish I could pass this joint to you guys.
God particles.
Right. God particles.
I'll never let that go. I've never heard anything like that, but that was the most funnest time I ever had.
Oh, are you talking about the guest that had the healing triangle thing?
Yeah. He wasn't religious, right? He wasn't religious. But
Right.
He slept with the Star of David, and he would send God particles through the computer. And if you needed a spirit guide to help you with these God particles he sent you, you could call him up for just $55 a session.
That's the cost of an eighth. Fuck that.
We had this little induction set with crystals on it, and it was all in the form of the Star of David, and he called it his healing pyramid. And he sold them for anywhere from $100 to $1,600, but not the one he showed us because that one's too powerful and no one could handle it.
Of course not.
Well, when he said that it had to be a symbol, that's when I went, oh no.
That was really the funniest thing.
I'm like, I can't do that.
And we just were like, oh man. And every time he said something, he would say something, and he'd be like, okay. And then 2 seconds later, he would like totally say the exact opposite of what he just said. Like he just totally like hypocrite. Like it was so funny. It was really weird. He's like, no, I'm not religious at all. It has nothing to do with religion. And then 2 seconds later, he's talking about sending God particles and Jesus and.
Oh yeah.
He was
I'm
fun.
sure. I'm sure my sister would love to diagnose him.
Yeah, he was fun. Well, he didn't. You know, it's funny. It's like we kind of like started like kind of thinking. He stayed in there, but the worst part was
He did say he did actually kind of blend over to us a little bit and kind of played. I think he did and ended up going. This was very different. And, he did make that comment, but actually, DJ, he was somebody that his publicist contacted me, and I never had that happen before, really, and I noticed that he was on, I had done like a Roxy Lopez show, The Truth Denied, and she does a lot of stuff about like chemtrails and UFO, and she's actually gonna start doing broadcasting on David Icke's new channel called The People's Voice. And so, and then he'd been on Dr. Bernard Alvarez's show with the Global Illumination Council, and then I had been on both of their shows. So I guess like they thought that I was like going to be kind of in the same vein, and I guess in a way there's a link there, but not exactly the same. So.
Right.
And it was I guess like whatever he's doing, he's on the it's interesting to watch. So there's actually like a alternative media junket trail. And we're back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. Welcome to the second hour of the show. And with me in studio is DJ Kuti from the Patient Advocacy Network and Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment. And we actually, before we took the break, I happened to put it out there. DJ, if I'm going to just do like a brief recap as if somebody was just listening to this half for the first time. DJ was, is with the patient. Okay, you got it? Okay, that's what happened. Anyway. DJ Kuti has actually is working on doing a big, with the Patient Advocacy Network. We're going to be on the lawn on 420 in front of President Obama, asking him for legalization and wanting to present him with a bill, in the future that would legalize it the way it needs to be. And DJ, do you want to just do a little brief summation too in your words?
Yeah, it's symbolic. We've got a president who has a history with cannabis. He's not shy about that. And while his Department of Justice has definitely not been hands off in any way, he has hinted that if the Congress put a bill in front of him to sign, he would sign it. And I think most presidents, of course, would say such a thing. But like I said, given his history, I think it's important between now and the time that he's out of office, now that he is in his second term, that we need to turn up the pressure on the president and the Congress. And so, yeah, right after his inauguration for his second term, I pulled a permit to do a rally in front of the White House on April 20th of 2014. And you were asking whether or not, I thought,
yeah, because
this
my
president could really do anything.
Well,
if the president really would, you kind of pointed your finger at him as a
I mean, yeah.
Two reasons why I think he wouldn't sign it if you do put it in there. But one, I think it's great if they do get it in there before he's gone. One, I don't think he'll sign it because one, he's black, and I highly doubt he's going to be the first black president, and his going out present to America is legalizing marijuana. Two, the other thing I don't see him doing, I don't see, it's not really him, but as just Congress in general and for political purposes, if you get it in there before he leaves, it makes a huge statement, and then opens up a huge political party for the next president and the whole next campaign to run off of for the next presidency, for the next two, presidents that run, or, candidates that run against each other. Their whole campaigns will basically can be ran off of the legalization of marijuana. It actually gives them an issue, a topic. And I see that playing out very easily for them. So it gives them, it gives them the show.
And I don't think it's going to happen. I'm suspicious that it's not going to happen because he's serving the corporations. Our politics are about it's about the 1%. It's about the corporations, and cannabis is way too in competition for any of those things. When you think about the fact that it could possibly cure cancer, what does that do to the medical profession? Which, and my feeling is that they're potentially more interested in profiting over cancer, as well, it's better not to completely cure people of something, so that their pharmaceuticals that they're using to actually treat the illness in the first place is the very thing that that's too much of a profit. There is a profit over people, and so I'm not sure if a bunch of us saying what we want as people, as the government should be. I mean, when you think about it, the America is government by the people for the people, and yet I feel that we don't have that right now.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, I hear all the arguments, and I agree that there's going to continue to be resistance to the federal end of prohibition. It's certainly one of the reasons why I've gotten involved on the statewide level here in California. Just like we've not seen it change anything on the federal level, but it makes impact to see each and every state begin to change its laws in defiance of what the federal government wants. And I see this rally as an opportunity to continue to be that defiance. We need to show ourselves. We need to be numbers. We need to be seen. And this way, even if it is going to be the case that Congress and the White House will continue to deny our freedom on this issue, at least we can say we didn't hide. At least we can say that once a year, we're gonna do something for cannabis. We're gonna, of everything that Mary Jane does for us every day, we're gonna do something for her once a year, and we're gonna go to Washington and take a stand. And it's opportunity for everyone to really push the media of that and show that the cannabis community is gonna occupy 420 and get out there and show by numbers the people who want to see an end to cannabis prohibition. Not that I have any faith and belief that it will force their hand and make them do something, but when tens or hundreds of thousands of people, maybe at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, get 1 million plus people out there saying, hey, it's time to legalize marijuana. If Congress decides to turn a blind eye to us, the media sure wouldn't.
There was something that you said during the break. You said, well, the reason why a president doesn't step up and do it because he doesn't want to be assassins like JFK.
No, sure. Like when we were talking about, the cannabis with everything that it can do and provide, and how presidents and even our congressional members become very beholden to corporations. That presidents are afraid to take stands on things because it is said that the reason JFK was assassinated was because he would not toe the line and do what he was being told by his superiors.
Yeah, I've heard it had there was a few things about the it was the Cuban Missile Crisis. I heard a theory, or I heard a speaker say this, was that he was supposed to nuke them or blow them up, and he couldn't do it, and he says, I can't, in my consciousness will not allow me to do that, and they said that was one of the reasons why he was murdered. I've heard that theory before too as well.
Yeah, no,
Um,
there's a Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, I guess that he created a number of enemies, I guess, for basically not doing what he was told. There's that theory that he allegedly was going to discuss, UFO involvement on this planet.
yeah, I heard that too.
Or not. That he was going to acknowledge that we had contact. That he was also had a liberal view of drugs. That he himself was an opioid addict for, I guess, he had a spinal disorder of some type. So yeah, no, it's interesting, and we'll see. It's past midnight, but we just recognized the 50th anniversary of his assassination, and we're not really that much closer to knowing exactly what happened, but I think we know enough to know that what happened to him. I mean, I can't imagine what goes through the minds of people who sit in the Oval Office and they believe one thing, and they're being told by those powers that be that you never see on television, call them the Majestic 12 or whatever you want to call them, right?
Yeah.
That really rule it. I guess when those who are the CEOs of the Federal Reserve tell you how it's going to be, that's just going to be how it's going to be.
Yeah.
You sit there in your chair in the Oval Office, and I'm sure you think about John F. Kennedy.
You definitely wonder like what is going on now. I've heard also that Marilyn Monroe may have been taken out because she was going to come forward and talk about ETs as well, that because of her association with him, or being so close to everything, that she knew stuff too as well.
That she was gonna speak. And the thing is, she had some meltdown within hours before her death, in front of Frank Sinatra, and she was talking about, she was going to talk, and other people heard her saying this, and it wasn't people say it wasn't about the affair, what had her so bent out of shape. It was, the pillow talk, of the president telling her shit that he knew.
Uh-huh.
And whatever that was. And she was going to talk about that.
Oh.
Whether that was ETs or whatever. So,
or Federal Reserve, or I mean, like, again, there's the other theory too, that he was going to take our I think maybe basis on silver, or it was another. He was going to take us out of the where we're not based on the Federal Reserve or the gold. He was going to like bring us back into another currency, and
right.
They didn't. That was not going to happen either.
And again, we don't know how much of this is true. I mean, I'm
right.
not a professional researcher. I haven't looked at his diary and stuff to know exactly, how much of his thought was in these things that, conspiracy theorists, as they're called,
right.
Discuss, the Federal Reserve, ETs, blah, 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 JFK, and so it's like, now he's kind of getting lumped into, well, did he know about all these things? Was he going to say something about all these things? Is that why he was taken out? And, we don't know. We can theorize, but I'm sure that every president who sits at, could you imagine what you're allowed to see, or maybe are told about by somebody and not allowed to see when you're the president of the United States?
Right, like what's the control of information that goes across his desk?
Right, because they're a puppet.
Oh yeah, that's what they're there for. I mean, Reagan was what? Wasn't he an actor? I mean, wasn't a couple of presidents actors? I mean, haven't they all been actors since? Isn't that who we hire to be presidents?
Okay, we do have to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Take it, you can hear the music now.
I can.
That's Robbie. That sounds so good.
Doesn't it? Yeah. I finally got his. I uploaded his all of his bumper music and gave it to Casper, and we're using it now finally. I never. It's really weird. It seemed like every network that I was on so far didn't use the music, the bumper music, or they didn't want to. Or wouldn't help me like upload it or learn how to upload it. Now I know. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, Robbie and I are getting together next week.
Oh my God, you played Frankie Goes to Hollywood? I love it. We couldn't hear it, but I guess they played Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Nice.
I can play it again for the last break. Okay, I want to hear it again.
Why not, right? It's Friday night.
Right, I love that song. That's from Body Double. You remember that movie?
I've never seen it.
Oh my God, it's a Brian De Palma film, and it's probably like early 80s. It's a mystery. It's got Melanie Griffith in it when she's really young, and she plays a porn star.
I think I've heard of it. Just one of those movies that I didn't see.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's an actor that's down on his luck. Ends up staying. I guess maybe he got evicted or something happened. And he ends up staying at a friend's house, who he goes off, and there's it's just deluxe. It's like rich, Bel Air house, and there's a telescope where he can look over at and across the way at this other guy's place, and there's this woman basically dances around naked, which is Melanie Griffith, but she's a body double, and masturbates to where he can watch it from the window, and then as he's watching, he witnesses her getting murdered. And a person really is murdered there, and then the movie just basically takes off to there, to where he discovers that it's Melanie Griffith being the body double, and he finds her, and then they go and they, basically the movie plays out. So I don't want to be a total spoiler, but that's the plot. It's really good. And then like the Frankie Goes to Hollywood song happens when he ends up going into a porn, and he ends up doing a scene, and while the sex is happening, that song plays.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll have to check out the film. Just
Yeah.
because it sounds like one of those 80s films that
Yeah.
I can check. It's like, saw Dress to Kill.
Yeah, same kind of thing. Well, Dressed to Kill is Brian De Palma too. It's like it's early Brian De Palma movies. It's like when I don't know. I think when he was really probably his best actually. Dressed to Kill is a classic one. Yeah.
Who did 9.5 Weeks?
That was Zalman King. He does mostly like erotica things. Like he did Wild Orchid, and he did Red Shoe Diaries. I know, because I'm a fan. I mean, I've followed Zalman King. I like that kind of erotic filmmaking, actually.
What about Angel Heart? Who did that one?
Was that Scorsese?
Probably, yeah, because that had Robert De Niro in it and Mickey Rourke.
I think it was like one of those kind of directors. I have to look it up again, but it feels.
Yeah, that was kind of one of those dark, mysterious, erotic type films.
Yeah. Boy, Mickey Rourke really like distorted his face, though, didn't he? With plastic surgery and stuff.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look the same.
I miss his old face. I mean, I know he would be older now, but I don't even know why he even messed with it.
I don't either. I mean, he claimed claims that his face was really beat up from being a boxer.
He's an interesting dude, I think.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he had the same kind of handsomeness as Bruce Willis, and I see what Bruce Willis looks like right now, and I see what Mickey Rourke looks like right now, and
We're coming back.
Okay. And we're back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. I'm in studio with Kevin Korn from Hardcorn Entertainment and Trips, and also my friend as well. I mean, well, both these guys are my friends, but my friend Dejay Kuti is the president of the Patient Advocacy Network and just a major, I mean, you've done so much, I think, for the marijuana community, Dejay. You know, it's you're definitely a strong presence in that in the making of things, as well as right kind of, you know, in the central location of where it was legalized for the first time in California. So anyway, I just want to point that out. So we were talking about JFK before we took our break, and you know, because the 22nd of November was the I don't want to call it a celebration. Did they call it a celebration?
no, I guess it's just the recognizing the 50th anniversary of his assassination. It's just the anniversary of when some people blew off his head in broad daylight. That's so balls out, man.
It will.
It's not like poisoning him at his desk. That's not like him having, you know, oh, he had an aneurysm at his desk. They blew this man's head off in the middle of the street in Dallas.
In front of everybody. I wonder if it's a statement. You know, it's like, it's almost like we lost our innocence then. I mean, it was, it obviously it's something that we're still questioning and affected by, even if you weren't even alive. Because Kevin, were you guys alive during his assassination?
No, I was not. My mom was. My mom, of course, you know, she remembers it. You know, she remembers it very emotionally and talked about it very passionately. It's like I guess, you know, it's like it's the scar that's like handed down to another generation, at least in my household.
I know Kevin wasn't alive.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't alive, but I've seen it. You know, I've seen the video. I've seen the footage. It's insane. It's just insane. You know, there's no other word for it. But at that time, though, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it wasn't just him. They were hitting everybody for a good decade. It was a good 10-year period where they all over the world. You know, we took out people and installed our own dictators. It was a crazy time all around.
Oh my God, Time for Hemp just put this in. We just looked at Spreaker and there are 666 followers.
Sweet.
That may be why, is what they said.
Beast is on board.
And they call it the demon weed. No, that's kind of.
No, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like, but he's right. You know, they took out Robert Kennedy. You were just talking about that right here down the street from me at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Well, actually, I think was it the Ambassador? I think it was the Ambassador. Is it in the same place?
Yeah, you know, they say that hotel's haunted. You know.
I did a catering gig there one time, and there was this kind of paranormal show. It was like, I forgot the name of it. Henry Winkler was the producer of it, and then this had to have been like 1994 maybe, and we were doing like a 1920s theme kind of thing, and they actually went with the psychics and they did like a seance or, you know, something in the area that Bobby Kennedy was shot in, which was the kitchen, I believe.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really, don't you think it's kind of strange? But yeah, that's what they were going to do.
Yeah, they've done that there. I think they've done that also, like around, different other famous people, even around, Maryland, as well. We were talking about her connection to all of it. It does look like somebody took her out with some pills, maybe.
It's interesting how they kind of like, I mean, both brothers, I mean, it would just boom, boom. It's like, I mean,
Yeah.
what, I mean, that even makes you wonder, like, well, what was going on? Like, what were they standing, I mean, how were they a threat to,
Right.
just
Well,
to,
them as well as Martin Luther King.
right.
Just like what Kevin was saying, they were taking out everybody at that
But
time.
you standing up and telling people that you had the right to stand up and tell them no and stand up for yourself, they just fucking took out. Pop.
I know.
It really was a crazy time.
It was, and it made like I said, it made politicians scared, and it made
Tried to
activists
kill
scared.
Bob Marley, for Christ's sakes. They tried to shoot Bob Marley. The only reason that he's not dead is because he lived through it.
Well, he's dead now.
Oh yeah, he's dead. He ended up dying of cancer,
But there's people that believe that. I mean, again, you're talking about the conspiracy theories. They think it was given to him on purpose. I mean, there are people that believe that Bill Hicks was given cancer. I mean, a friend of mine went over to England, and he was a comedian. He became pretty popular over there. But like he says, when he first got there, everybody asked me, Bill Hicks? And they go, yeah. And they go, do you think they did it? Do you think they killed him? Then and this was like back, 10, 15 years ago that he was being asked these kind of questions. It's like, I like you. How come there's so many people that just feel that way? People think it happened to Lenny Bruce. People think it happened to John Lennon. And again, the theory is that anybody, well, for one thing, it was anybody who talked about peace. And then it seems obviously if you say, well, I'm a sovereign being like the Constitution says I am. You know what I mean? It says I have unalienable rights because I am in the image of my creator, whatever that is to be deemed to be believed to be. It's like, it seems like when you actually exercise that fact, what have we looked at but like, thinking, well, God, if I do it, someone's going to shoot me.
Oh,
that's right.
It's time you get pulled over for a stupid traffic offense. Tell them they ask to see your ID. Tell them you're a sovereign citizen and see what happens.
You're gonna eat some pavement, and they're gonna take your ID and look at it anyway.
Instantly, and your car is gone.
Yeah, you're gonna be slamming into some concrete real fast.
Yeah, and technically, you're right, but they're trained to believe otherwise.
Right, and the judge is not gonna like your response in court.
Not at all.
No, even though that's true, the judge just would appreciate you as a rational citizen to just cooperate with a law enforcement officer and not give him any hassle.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's a money scam. Like, just don't give us any trouble. Let us take your money.
Oh, speaking of that, Terry, I know that we're not going to get a whole lot in tonight into the court support that we've been doing for our friend Viana Haju. Of course, people can look it up, but she's in a different court and in a different department now.
Uh-huh.
And we were at her arraignment, and we were watching the other people. This particular courtroom that we were in was just kind of it was just a processing room. I mean, people came in. It was people who already took pleas. It was the kind of courtroom that had the big cage in the corner where they brought people in who were from lockup. And you talk about money making. Just about everybody that was in there that went through that courtroom that we saw, minus, of course, Viana, was a very interesting case. These were all people who had taken a plea and were going to be doing probably some amount of time in county, and then paying some type of fees and getting some type of monitor, definitely going through some type of drug testing, and they were all going to be going into drug drug program of some type. And as the judge very quickly read through all of their obligations, everything came with a fee. Everything was something that this person was going to pay for these tests and these bracelets and going into this drug program. So yeah, it's definitely, there's definitely this is just one aspect of our criminal, quote unquote, justice system that just cranks people through to get them to paying for fees for things like drug testing and drug rehab programs, and in some cases, actual house arrest bracelets, as well as court fees, because now they make people in California pay for the time you spend clogging up the court system.
So, it's really all about money. It always comes down to money, doesn't it?
Always.
I mean, we talk about, again, you talk about legalization of marijuana, and then you realize that, I mean, that our own government is probably making money off of drugs itself, or like there's been historically, even like, the queen or the monarchy, like, back in the day, the queen England was selling opium to China so that China would be drugged. I mean, I've heard that theory that the powers that be have always been in the illegal drug trade on some level, and they're just all, the mob's connected, they're just all connected in this one big weave. And then you come into, like, over here, and you go, okay, well, here's these laws that you citizens have to abide by, and we're not going to allow you to legalize this if you want to, because if we do, then we're going to lose a whole bunch of money over here that we're taking that you don't really know about.
Well, yeah, the spice must flow, and it's all about who has control over the flow.
Right. Yeah. So, sometimes, like, you look at it, you just, I feel frustrated by it. I'm like, oh my God. Although I still do have faith, that we can definitely, change. I mean, despite the fact that, we might end up being assassinated at any given moment, for doing it,
Well, that whole thing, those of us who agree, would rather die on our feet than live on our knees.
Right. I mean, obviously, I mean, otherwise, you'd be silent or, completely fearful. But, when you look at the consequences, of not doing it, it's like that, it's that thing that, Martin Luther King said, I mean, once you see it, then, I'm going to paraphrase, but basically it's like, if you see what's wrong and then you walk away from it, I mean, you don't, that's the worst thing you can do. Not having the knowledge of it and then not do anything about it is worse than like not having the knowledge of it,
And that's where they have everybody today, is they know that there's a problem, but they're like, oh, nobody else is doing anything about it, so what am I going to do? Or they go, well, what am I supposed to do about it? I can't change anything, so, oh well. And we've had him on this show and heard him say it. And it's just like, I'm like, that's what we're talking about, is how do we wake these people up?
Well, I feel that in a way they are starting to wake up, and this is what I find kind of interesting, is that there's more and more, I would say, it seems like mainstream entertainers that are really starting to say some stuff. Like one, let's talk about, I mean, like Russell Brand. I mean, for Russell Brand to be saying what he's saying is like really representing that. I feel like he's saying what the occupiers were saying way back when nobody thought that they had that it was valid. I mean, now they're kind of like, you see like, blogs that want to make him look like he's crazy or whatever, but he's definitely not buying into like playing this left right wing kind of game that you see a lot of other celebrities sucking up to, and acting like it's, everything's a tea party situation, or, living in that little box. He's saying, look, it's all a big dog and pony show, so, here's the facts. We deserve to have better than this, and we know that the wealth is like belonging to a certain people, and that it's not being distributed fairly, and that our government really isn't really working for us. And I have never seen a mainstream performer speak that way before. Have you, Kevin?
Well, I mean, not quite like that. No, especially to come from Russell Brand, I didn't expect it. I mean, I've heard him talk before, and I've heard him say some other, like pretty things, like weird things, but I had never heard him come out swinging like that. The only other person I know that comes out really that hard, that's pretty out there, is maybe Penn Jillette. Penn Jillette says some stuff here and there, but nothing that, like when he did that interview that he did that pretty much,
Yeah.
started this whole thing. I was blown away. I was like, whoa. And
Yeah.
He's very articulate, he came, the way he did
And
it,
funny. I mean, he has this humor that he doesn't, when he makes his points, I mean, he still comes off funny as well. And that's a real gift. And on that, we're going to come take a commercial break. We'll be right back with more Hollywood Hempress Hour.
All right, we're at break.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so high.
And after the ads, I'll let you know when the song's playing.
Okay.
You're bored up. He totally sounds like a pilot in the cockpit of a plane. I'm totally waiting for him to say, we're at 5,000 altitude. We've got clear skies. It's a beautiful day for flying. It totally sounds like he's talking to us from the cockpit.
Yeah.
So what did Russell Brand say? Because the last thing I saw him get in trouble for was he was invited to do a show where there were some designers. I think there it was like a fashion event, and he like mouthed off at somebody in the audience for basically. I don't know. I mean, I think there was something involved there with some Jewish racism type stuff there.
I think I heard about that. I think he made a reference to I think it was Calvin Klein or Hugo Boss, someone designing the outfits for the Nazi regime. Yeah, which is true actually.
Right, yes. That was the last controversy. Yeah, he's edgy. That takes him much.
And all the stars that never were are parking cars and pumping gas.
Now I feel like I need a song. The guy who's staying with me, Dave, he's born and bred from San Jose.
I know, it's too bad he's not on the show.
I know, he's not running around. I think, like I said, I think the lingerie part scared him. I think he didn't know he faked it to the after party. I think he was afraid I was gonna make him wear some of my hose and a garter belt. I think he was just it's okay.
Gosh, I just don't think that it's funny. And now I can see from his perspective. I can't see from his perspective. But when I thought about the theme of the show, I didn't think of it that it would, make, too bad. We missed out on Seaman in his boxers. Oh well. Because, like a lot of guys just sleep in their boxers, right? Do they really have
Right,
pajamas?
sure.
Or naked?
Well, come on, women don't really sleep in their lingerie.
No, who would, please? Can't even breathe in it half the time.
I know.
You're like, I can't wait to get out of this. All
I
right.
know, exactly. I'm glad we're not doing lingerie tonight, mostly because it is chilly.
Right.
And two, because it's like if we were going to do that, I was going to have to slide into a corset, and I'm just not in a corset mood tonight.
We'll have to do it sometime though. When I come and visit, then and then we'll webcast from we'll do a webcast like that. That'd be fun.
See, this is cocktail music. What's going on?
Is this Frankie? This is the Frankie Goes to Hollywood? And we're live, and we're back with Hollywood Hemptress Hour on iHeartRadio on the Time for Hemp Network. And we are actually in the final throes of our show. I'm with DJ Kuti from the Patient Advocacy Network and Kevin Korn from Hardcore Entertainment. And we've been definitely running the gamut of conversation here. Covering, because, today, we think it's still yesterday because, we started the show in our head thinking it was the yesterday day, but it's actually today. Anyway, I think you caught up with me now, but on the 22nd of November, it was the anniversary of 50 years of JFK, so we've gone through all those theories. I just want to ask you guys a question. I've heard this speech lately on YouTube that JFK makes about secret societies and secret things, and about this is amazing speech that now I'm becoming more familiar with. Have you seen it?
I'm not familiar with it.
I've seen it, and that's why they shot it. He wasn't the whole point that they were doing and killing all these people that were standing up for themselves is because they were going against their one world order, which is what they've been trying to build and put in place for a very long time.
I have another friend who I'd like to have on the show sometime, but he has a theory that cannabis and marijuana is in direct opposition of what politically in what that agenda might be. Do you guys? Do you see that, DJ?
Oh, sure. No, I know that there are definitely other movements out there, and I'm so happy that there are other brothers and sisters that are fighting on all kinds of fronts regarding social justice. But I do think that cannabis and hemp are, if we can get that legalized, that's one huge card in the house of cards as far as freedom and social justice, and it will make it that much more difficult for these governments in the Federal Reserve to achieve that one world order.
What do you think about that, Kevin?
Yeah, well, obviously it's a direct violation of their, population control. If it helps us live longer and stay healthier, that's totally not going to work for them.
Right.
As a way for the need for pharmaceuticals and being able to clean our planet with the hemp and eat better and raise our cannabinoid levels and not need all these blood pressure medications and diabetes medications and all these psychotropic medications once people are much better off, once the whole humanity is better off from using cannabis in all of its forms.
Absolutely.
Well, we would definitely live longer, and again, if you want anything that's going to sustain the environment and heal the planet, from all of the gas emissions and the fracking that we're doing right now, and just like the fact that a lot of our food is full of GMOs. A lot of our crop is GMOs that I mean, when you go to the grocery store, it's hard to find. If you go to a Safeway, like I feel like the organic vegetables are like shoved into a tiny little spot. It's like two things, like maybe two little. It's like really, I mean, like, and then you have a limited choice. You can't get all like green beans and all the lovely carrots and I mean, it just why isn't that organic? And when you do go to one of those places, they're usually it's like a farmer's market, or you're going to Whole Foods, or you're going to something that's that you end up sometimes paying more money to actually get access to. But if we had the hemp plant, we would get some nutrition that that we might have a fighting chance of not allowing it to be patented and genetically modified. I mean, that's what I see. But I mean, do you think it's even possible at this point to actually make that change? Anybody?
Well, it's again, it's one of those whole other realms of activism that's going on. One of the things in our initiative that we included was that since this allows for industrial hemp, there was concern about somebody trying to come in with a genetically modified crop of industrial hemp and introduce that into California. And so, again, while you can't try to do so many things in one bill, we couldn't try to take on GMO, but we did state that any cannabis that was going to be grown in California that was going to be GMO had to be labeled. So if somebody tries to bring in GMO hemp seeds or something like that into California, at least with this initiative, they have to be labeled, which is something that they tried to do in California. There was a bill that the people tried to pass, and there's a lot of controversy about why it didn't pass. There's some suspected voter tampering with that, but there was a bill to make any food producers have to label the food as genetically modified, and it was very controversial, and it didn't pass. But we've included it, at least in our bill, that if you're going to bring in genetically modified cannabis into California in any form, it has to be labeled.
So it's already done, isn't it? I mean, they've already made that patent hemp seed. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, we just wanted to make sure that is one of those things, by being such an inclusive bill and getting so much input from people all throughout the cannabis community, it was one of those little details that was brought to our attention.
So it's just like a theory, like like we just want to cover our basis here. If you do decide to do this, it has to be labeled, because everybody already thinks that that's the next step of order that's going to happen.
Yeah, the concern that if California is going to open the gate of being a place for producing industrial hemp, and it would be a good crop here, that we don't, that while we might not be able to prevent genetically modified, at least we can go the step that some of our brothers and sisters were going here in saying that it has to be labeled.
Kevin,
that's what people are asking for at the grocery stores, even places like you were saying, like Whole Foods and so forth, that try to go as far as they can with giving healthy food options, that there are still genetically modified foods there. I mean, I've heard people say, food experts say that if there's soy that is not organic soy in a product, if it's an ingredient in a product, or if a product has any type of high fructose corn syrup, that you can guarantee that corn and soy at this point is genetically modified unless it is definitely labeled otherwise.
wow.
So it's bad enough that high fructose corn syrup is already bad for you, but now they're saying that all of the high fructose corn syrup out there in the food system is genetically modified.
We put that in everything.
It is in everything. It is in tomato sauce. It is in peanut butter. It is in just about every soda, every cereal, candy bar, just about every snack that people eat, at least in our culture on a regular basis, has this in it.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I hadn't realized that it was that prevalent. That's just, I mean, just to think about it I mean, so in a sense, because I hear from certain people or about GMOs that it actually chemically alters us. Like, taking that in is maybe doing something to, even, I don't know, maybe down to the DNA level. So it's obviously doing something to our bodies by consuming it. And if you say that it's in everything, then every single, I mean, at least in the United States, every single person is affected already by genetically modified foods.
Right, right. It makes you wonder. I mean, they've tried to figure out why it is the level of autism that we have in this country is just phenomenal. I think we're getting. I wish I had the stats at my fingers. I don't want to misquote, but I've got a very good friend with a daughter who has autism, and they're saying that every year just in California alone, like over 100,000 young people with autism come of an age where they need to be put into some type of adult care home kind of situation, because they can't live on their own, and there's like a critical need for now that this generation of children with autism are becoming adults. There isn't the right kind of housing and services for them, and it's critical, and no one's talking about it.
On that, DJ, we are at the end of our show. Thank you so much for being a guest. And where can our listeners find you and everything that you're doing?
People can go to CannabisSavesLives.org. They can find my contact information there. They can sign up for email updates. They can make a tax-deductible donation. If they want to find out about what's going on with the legalization effort here in California, they can go to mclr.us.
Great. Thank you so much. And Kevin, Kevin Korn is my co-host, and thank you for being here tonight. Kevin, can our listeners find you anywhere?
Yeah, Hardcore Entertainment, Hardcore Comedy, and of course our group trips on Facebook.
And I'm Terry Joyce. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend.
All right, good show.
Thank you, Sasha.
Was that a good show? I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hey, they're waving. Hey, Casper. Oh, you guys are.
Oh, they're turning on all their cameras.
We all have our cameras on.
Yeah.
We have our blankets on.
We're all. Kevin, I can't see. Oh, I guess my head's not. I go, Kevin, I can't see your head, and I'm like, mine's not even in the frame. Okay, it matters.
So cool, that was fun.
Yeah.
Be in total debate mode all the time. It's been real.